fully prepared with everything I need for the Jay-Z documentary. The moment he sent that legal letter, I knew I had to let the world see who he really is. He and Diddy are cut from the same cloth. He just hides his arrogance and control behind a cleaner image. Our feud has lasted 20 years, and I know better than anyone what he's done in the shadows. I even suspect that so-called funeral bouquet wasn't Diddy's idea at all, but Jay-Z acting on his behalf. Back when Nicki Minaj posted that video of him wearing a pink wig, all I did was repost it, and he got so nervous he had his lawyers threaten me. In 2015, Nicki worked her ass off helping him build his platform, and he allegedly pocketed her $7.9 million in royalties. And then there's his fingerprints all over key incidents through the years, whether it's the elevator footage or the guest list at Diddy's parties. He was involved, clearly, but somehow he always walks away untouched. That's what he's best at, pulling strings behind the scenes while pretending to be spotless in public. And now that a corner of the darkness has been ripped open, I'm not stopping. Everything my team and I are doing isn't about attacking anyone. It's about making sure the truth can't be buried by him ever again.
He ain't answering the phone? He ain't answering the motherfucking phone. Yeah, it's like this, like
we had a black billionaire's lunch.
Black excellence, they're sitting there like, yeah. It's the billionaire brunch.
Oh,
like,
I hate you, man.
And we here together, and we're gonna keep staying together. We getting tighter.
Unaware of anything going on here. This is the one time I'm gonna be with you this year. Yo, I feel like I'm normal again. Get me out of here.
Jay-Z is coming under rising pressure as new reports suggest that private conversations between him and Diddy have surfaced, triggering intense online reactions. The development has thrust Jay-Z into an uncomfortable spotlight, reigniting long-standing speculation about his close ties with Diddy and earlier associations that are now being re-examined closely. As these supposed messages gain traction in public debate, past allegations are resurfacing. Public opinion is shifting. Momentum is accelerating quickly, fueling a swelling storm that could challenge Jay-Z's credibility, authority, and deeply rooted legacy globally right now.
Carter aided and abetted or was directly involved. It's about to get real tense, and there's a lot of girls and boys who are still trapped inside.
During past interviews, 50 Cent was adamant about never placing himself inside Diddy's inner circle, explaining that certain invitations and environments instantly raised red flags and persuaded him to pull away early. That intentional separation, he says, is what allows him the freedom to speak openly. Now, when accusations later emerged, 50 insisted that he discovered them the same way everyone else did, through the media. And although he recognized the gravity of the claims, he stressed that the disclosures matched worries he had long sensed, rather than arriving as an unexpected shock to him.
Jay-Z is worse than Diddy. She explained how Jay-Z has done worse things than what Diddy did to Cassie to other females. And she said that she has the scars to prove it. She alleged that at one time Jay-Z attacked her and got it on film like Diddy did. And she alleged that this is why Jay-Z is totally pulling away from Diddy and you don't see him around. And it's been alleged for quite a while that Jay-Z is pulling away from Diddy because he doesn't want himself caught in the crossfire. I mean, you even have 50 Cent at this point talking about how Jay-Z is in hiding while this whole Diddy thing blows over. And you even have these accusations of Jay-Z being responsible for what happened to Cassie White. So I'm going to go ahead and roll you guys this clip of everything that Jag had to say about Jay-Z being worse than Diddy. And you guys let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Sean Carter is just as bad as the diddler. And I know that for a fact. I got the scars to prove it. You want to know what a box cutter feels like going into your skin and ripping you? I can tell you how it feels. Y'all ain't seen shit yet. That Cassie shit, that's nothing. I'm saying Sean Carter remembers everything he did to me and he's got it on tape. Just like Diddy. And they're gonna be crazy. It's gonna be the women that get them in the end.
As the inquiry expanded, focus gradually turned toward Jay-Z, with observers questioning his quiet response while developments surrounding Diddy kept intensifying. That cautious posture further heightened doubt, leading some to think his team detected early signs of his name surfacing in civil conversations and acted fast to shape perception. Others cautioned that even without formal charges, reputational damage was already emerging as social media sped up the spread of unverified claims and amplified speculation, transforming uncertainty into immediate, hard-hitting consequences that seemed rapid and impossible to restrain across platforms worldwide right today.
What Jay-Z's accuser is saying, that even though she dropped the lawsuit, she still stands by what she says, and she only dropped it because of harassment and the fact that she's terrified of Jay-Z. She says that Jay-Z is allegedly bullying her into saying that her accusations were false. In fact, in new legal documents, she is claiming that she was recently approached outside of her home and cornered by two people who told her they were investigators working for one of Jay-Z's lawyers. She claims they tried to get her to sign an affidavit stating that her claims against Jay-Z were false, but she refused. Jane Doe also claims the alleged investigators asked her if her attorney, Tony Busby, sought her out as a client and offered her money to pursue false claims against Jay-Z, two allegations she says she denied. He says this alleged confrontation left her intimidated and terrified, wondering how they found her when her identity had remained anonymous in media reports and legal proceedings. He also claims that her parents were approached by two investigators asking similar questions about Busby and her story. In the new documents, she reveals she decided to drop the claim because she was frightened by the reaction from Jay-Z and his supporters. He says she feared she would be publicly outed and subjected to...
Industry insiders warned that a single criminal investigation could disrupt far more than expected, extending risk to anyone viewed as part of his close orbit. Which is why many argue 50's documentary holds genuine importance. Instead of focusing on one individual, it seeks to examine how power operated behind closed doors, who might have known what was occurring, and how accountability can spread outward once intense scrutiny starts. Analysts have also questioned how Diddy stayed protected for so long, with some citing strategic alliances and firm control over public narratives as rumors quietly moved. Adding to pressure, reports later emerged suggesting he could be cooperating with authorities to reinforce his position, a development that, according to unverified claims, might include sharing information about others in his circle, heightening anxiety and raising stakes across the wider industry.
Well, did he start snitching?
He better. But the only thing I'm interested in him talking about is everything he knows about Kathy Coriana White. See, I know you know what happened to Corey. Diddy, I know that. You and Jay-Z. Down in Vegas at Tao with Claudia. Why don't you just talk about Kathy? That might help. That might help a lot. Kathy Coriana White, Jay-Z's pregnant mistress, who died 24 hours after she announced that she was going public with their relationship and the baby while he was married to Beyonce. Was it an aneurysm, Diddy? Or are you the one who paid the same coroner that you... Oh, Diddy.
Now that the film has officially premiered, one truth feels unavoidable. This is not a backward-focused account. It is actively influencing what unfolds next. Every fresh disclosure narrows the spotlight on those who remained silent, and Jay-Z is steadily drawn into the center of that glare. The examination carries force because his history with Diddy spans decades, making assertions of distance harder for skeptics to accept. That strain intensified when Gene Deal openly challenged remarks from Jay-Z's legal team minimizing their closeness, arguing the storyline clashed with what many insiders had long observed. As additional voices come forward and timelines are dissected, the pressure continues building, turning once quiet connections into unresolved questions that refuse to fade away completely.
They was close enough that they wasn't playing basketball, they wasn't playing baseball, they wasn't playing football, and they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it, but I don't know what kind of half a homo that is, and you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them, but they were so close that they had matching white girls together. Because when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So I guess that's a certain type of closeness.
I ain't know anything about that, man. I ain't know about, Jay touching his, so I got to go see the video. I ain't hear about that.
Come on, man. Everybody's seen that. 50 even pointed it out. Excuse me. When they was in ATL on stage. Remember when 50 bum rushed the stage with them?
Yeah, I think I recall that.
When Puff came on stage, first thing he did was pat Jay-Z on that. But I forgot. That's your favorite rapper.
Hey, him and Pac is 1A, 1B. But what's your issue with Jay, man? I didn't know you had an issue with him.
I'm never a fan of somebody.
From Gene's viewpoint, the ease and familiarity between Jay-Z and Diddy showed far more than statements ever could. He referenced a moment at an Atlanta concert where Diddy brought Jay-Z on stage, and the natural chemistry between them was impossible for audiences to overlook. A clip that later resurfaced after 50 Cent spotlighted it, keeping it alive online. When asked about any personal bitterness toward Jay-Z, Gene dismissed that, saying it had nothing to do with loyalty or bias. Instead, he recalled an earlier clash that once carried genuine tension, only for Jay-Z to seemingly shrug it off later, a pattern Gene described as typical among those at the top. Figures who pass through intense moments, spark friction, and then move on untouched, existing in a rarefied space far removed from everyday context.
These guys are, man. They'll cause situations and cause problems, and then they'll forget what they done because they on a whole nother atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit that he did, you got to understand, like now he'll say that they're kids because he's raising kids of his own. You understand? But how would you like it that if Blue Ivory, 15, 16 years old, 17, 18 years old, dating a nigga in his early 30s? You're not going to go for that. No matter what she came through in Hollywood. But you got to understand, guys who was around there, we didn't know Jay-Z them ages. We didn't know these cats' age. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't having no beards and nothing like that. They was wearing low cuts. You understand? Clean face. I would have never believed when Jay was coming around the block, scooping up the young girls and stuff like that he was 30 years old. You know, if they 17, 18, 16 years old, and they 22, you thinking they 22, 23, something like that, 24 years old? They mom and them need to check them. They daddy and them need to check them. But that's not that far off. But for somebody to be 30 years old in their 30s and they dealing with kids 16 years old, 17, 18 years, now that's a problem. That's an issue. And now he see that because he's raising kids. And he got a young daughter. I think he got another daughter that he didn't claim, and now he claiming them. These cats was doing a whole lot of stuff that people in the industry won't speak on. And then now that you're speaking on it and it's becoming where is that you can get on YouTube and you could talk about this shit and say what you seen or say what you heard, you understand, or what you know. Some people look at it being a problem. But these cats ain't street cats. They entertainers.
Dame Dash, once Jay-Z's closest partner, recently spoke out about the serious accusations now circling him. He explained that what stood out most was not only the claims, but the force of the public reaction. Dame remarked that across all his years, he had never watched Jay-Z face this degree of scrutiny, as decades of power and influence had long placed him as largely untouchable within mainstream media. That image, he argued, is now shifting, with the protective shield starting to crack, leaving Jay-Z exposed to a level of public examination rarely directed at figures of his stature, signaling a shift in how even the most powerful names are tested when attention intensifies.
Odd to see him in that, getting looked at in that way by white people, like Jay does, yeah, like I hope that shit didn't happen, but I'm like, damn, they turned the world real. Like people on a certain level have been fucking with him a certain way where he couldn't do no wrong for like 25 years straight. This is the first time he's not getting a pass with white media, like he can control black media because a lot of them either work or do business with him, but like, Green Champs can't get him out of this one, and neither can Charlemagne. Because, those are the guys that hold him down no matter what he does anyway. So he got to get to People Magazine and Entertainment Tonight right now because they on his head. But the question is why? Like, why now? Because for me, I'd be like, yo, that's so ridiculous. Yo, take that to trial. You're not going to win. Let's get a deposition or something. So I don't know why they on his head so much. Pause. But I never seen him, under this, I never seen him in this position to have to explain himself. Pause.
How you feel about the statement he came out with?
I mean, I didn't hear him say anything. I heard a piece of, like I said, I'm doing an interview, so I talk. I thought it was long. For a statement, I thought it was long, pause. But, I think right now, his silence is the worst thing for him. If he is innocent, he needs to let people ask him questions, and he needs to be.
What surprised Dame most was seeing Jay-Z in unfamiliar ground, defensive, responsive, and under sustained pressure, a role he has rarely held beyond a few moments throughout his career. For decades, Jay-Z operated without having to publicly justify himself, making the present level of scrutiny particularly striking. At the same time, questions keep emerging about why 50 Cent seems so intent on confronting him, implying the Diddy link alone does not explain everything. Tony Yayo provided added context, explaining that friction between 50 and Jay-Z has lingered for years, rooted in rivalry and unresolved loyalty issues. Hip-hop has always thrived on competition where egos clash and disputes surface, but evolution is also part of the path. Yayo pointed to a recent show where 50 shared the stage with Dr. Dre and Cameron appeared as well, showing old tensions being set aside. Cameron later commented that Jay-Z prioritizes business over culture, a view Yayo echoed, noting Jay-Z is frequently seen at high-level corporate events while often missing hip-hop moments that matter deeply to artists like 50. reinforcing perceptions of imbalance and keeping questions about priorities and allegiance firmly alive.